we have different levels of technological advancement and of modernity in the world and between countries. So if you look at a culture, if you look at a country like Turkey or Tunisia, we are way behind in terms of technology and also in terms of modernity. Okay, and this behindness gives us a higher birth rate, but it also gives us a higher crime rate. These are both like entangled with each other, and we are live in a society that is yes, more violent, but at the same time a better social cohesion and better social checks and balances, and
More
less.
fertility
Sorry, more
and
what?
more fertility rate.
More fertility rate. Yeah, that's
Fertility
what I
rate.
meant. So this goes hand in hand. So you basically have like, you can look at it like you have Germany, who's like 30 to 40 years ahead of these countries, and doesn't have a lot of the problems that they still have, like high crime rate and stuff like that. And then you have these other people who have who are 30 years behind, who don't have these, who have all of these problems still, but they don't have they have the higher birth rate. And so
I really love this point that you're making. I'm gonna just add on this like a more an equivalent an analogy or a more equivalent solution. It's not even an analogy; it's the same thing. Where I was telling my cousin, we were walking on the streets in Russia, and it's like 4 a.m. and there are like a lot of Russian girls like walking like by two or even one, and I'm saying like, look at all these girls feeling safe in their city, and he says, yeah, we don't have that in Tunisia, and I'm telling him I don't think that's a good thing. You see, it sounds crazy, right? Why would a woman feeling safe be not good? But I'm saying because it is indicative of something. It is indicative that there are not a lot of dangerous men around, which correlates in. I know this.
with low
I have no.
fertility.
Yeah, it no. It just correlates with lower levels of testosterone, for example, lower male aggressivity in general. You see, if women are walking safe on the street and there are no policemen, it's not like there is a policeman on every corner. It is a safe city. What I'm saying is these women feel for example, I have women who have physically assaulted me. And I'm thinking the only reason you are assaulting me physically is because when you done it to a man before, they did not retaliate. Well, when I come from my country, it's not like when a woman hits you, you don't hit her back. It's a different country. See, if you got his stroke, you can strike back. But not that I'm advocating beating women. You get the point. They are so overly aggressive, and some people see this as a good thing. Women can defend themselves. Women are safe. Women are this. Women are that. Well, on the other hand, you see, you said that in Tunisia and Turkey we have a high fertility rate, more family security, but it leads to more crime. Well, the fact that they don't have crime in white total country, for example, there are cities in Russia that are not hit by immigration. If you go away from the bigger cities, there are cities that have zero immigration, like 100% white people. And in this city, you have zero crime rate, like everyone knows each other. It's a Southwell city, but the men there are zero aggressivity, zero testosterone. The way you wanna put it, they are zero motivated. They are not manly men the way you wanna put it. You see, so the more the society is safe and technologically advanced, the more women are safe, the more men are quote unquote weak, and the more problems you have with fertility. But the
Yeah, I mean,
contrast is that in that society, really fast, in that society that have weak men and very strong women, and you bring in them someone who has come from a society where men are still strong, you can see how that creates a problem, regardless of the color of skin. Because even if it was the reverse, if it was the Arabs who were advanced and the US that was not, and someone from the US came to the Tunisia and he does not speak the language, you can understand how he will be frustrated. So it's not about color at all.
no, it's not. It's not. But again, the point with testosterone and fertility, you have a correlation there, but we don't know. I mean, I don't think, I don't think
Vague,
that.
vaguely.
Yeah, but
I'm not meaning it
because the same
directly.
reason. No, they're just correlating because they're the symptom of the same thing that happened, which is that physical strength is not that important anymore. So you have lower testosterone and also more power to women, right? So these two things are a symptom of the same thing. So they correlate highly in societies. So you can see a big correlation between strong women and low testosterone in men, but they're not caused by each other. So, and there is no direct correlation between them. there's no necessity for a direct correlation between these two things, because even if there is high testosterone men, you have a woman that is powerful in society because she has money and because she's able to provide for herself, and she's able to basically pay the state to provide her the safety that she needs from high testosterone men, for example. But this idea of woman being like, so I would definitely say that it is very good that women can walk safely during the night, and I think that that's one thing where I know that there is certain, I agree, for example, that certain agendas of feminism have gone too far in some areas. For example, when it comes to looking after girls in education, I think that we are there now. Women are very, very successful in education, and men have a lot of problem in education. So that's an area where I would definitely dial down I would dial up the gender equality by giving boys more chances and making school a little bit more boy friendly. But in other regards, I think we are way behind still in feminism in the world, because if I am now 31, okay, so maybe
You two look younger. You two look younger.
I also look younger. So in the next 4 to 5 years, I want to at some point get married, have children, and I have traveled a lot in my life. I have traveled all over the world. I've been in so many countries. Sometimes when I was younger, I didn't have any money. I was just backpacking, and I was sleeping at the worst places. I was getting into some dangerous situations and stuff like that. Later on in life, I had more money. I could stay in more comfortable places, go with the cab everywhere, and blah blah. But I'm thinking at the world how it is right now. Like if I have a girl, if I have a daughter, I'm not going to be able to just send her out in the world, and just like my parents were able to do that, because it's still not a really safe place for women. And also, it was not always safe for me. I agree, but and I also did some stupid stuff, and just like you young people do. But for a girl right now, it's dangerous. It's still a dangerous world, and we live in, and I think it should not be that way. And I think that we profit from giving women that safety, and you already said so yourself. It's just you can't compete with a country that treats women equally, because you just have double the brain power, double the manpower, quote unquote, um, and we all profit from that. And who knows, if we really get technologically so advanced, I don't know. We don't know what's going to
No.
happen.
We know who doesn't profit from that equation, because I agree with everything you said so far. You know who doesn't benefit from this situation?
I can guess.
Yeah, it is the local man when there are, let's say, a man of equal attractiveness status and financial status who comes in the game, but he is more, how to say this gently, you see, sexually frustrated. Because for example, if you compare someone who has been desensitized to naked women, for example, as the majority of young men are watching like movies and stuff with naked women on them, and the sensitivity of men is getting lower and lower and lower. Okay, if we have someone who comes from a society where he doesn't have access to that, which let's face it, doesn't exist anymore, right?
It doesn't exist
But for
anymore.
example,
You have
In
VPNs.
Germany, you have, for example, yeah. In Germany, you have, for example, the saunas or, some places where women and men can go
Sure.
naked together without any sexual tension, right? If
I
you tell
wouldn't say
that to
without any
anyone,
sexual tension, but without anything bad happening to anyone.
okay, yes, with lower, okay?
Sure.
Because if you tell that story to someone from my country, if you tell that to my countryman, well, A, he will not believe you. B, he will Google that and believes you now. And then he makes a joke about going to Germany. Because it is not common. You see, if, for example, if you have never seen a woman naked in your life, neither in real life or in on the screen, even seeing an ankle will turn you on.
Sure.
That's how sensitivity works in human beings.
Sure.
Okay, so the
It's like
man
the scene
and that
in Scarface, where did you watch? You watched Scarface, right?
not not really, no, but
You
I
should
can
definitely watch
see
it.
it's happening. I will. I have a list of movies, and it's definitely on there. So you see, when you are sexually deprivated, you grow this frustration, and this frustration, it has a, well, a clear negative effect, which is the frustration itself, but it teaches you how to be how to work with what you have. For example, if you are not the best looking man ever, and you are in a society where it's very hard to be out with a woman, you learn how to be sneaky, you learn how to talk better to women, you know how to lie even. And all these advantages that I bring with me to Russia, for example, and I myself, and I'm not linking this to testosterone or anything like that. I myself, I think of myself as someone, despite looking calm on the outside, I boil when I look at a woman. And my Russian equivalent, which is a white boy, which is discussed, by the way, there is a French book written by someone who is a white supremacist, but he's not white himself. You know, the presidential, a guy who wants to become a president in France. Basically, he wrote about this, where women become fantasizes about these immigrants just by the sheer frustration and testosterone and adventures that
Wait,
they
is it
have in them
Jean? Is
that
it Marine
lacks
Le
in.
Pen?
No, it's a guy who is on the same side, let's say, okay?
Okay.
Is Eric Zemmour.
Mm-hmm.
He's you can Google him, Eric Zemmour.
Mm-hmm.
He got like 5% in the last election, and he's
Mm-hmm.
not doing so well. But in his books, like he is, let's say, I don't know who would be that guy in Germany, but in French, he is the furthest you can go. As an even Le Pen is like a joke next to him.
Mm-hmm.
You see, he is the farthest you can go to the right.
Sure.
And he wrote this in a book, and like it is so violent, you see, it is so violent the way he writes it. But if I take it and I dial it down, you see, I dilute it a bit because it has so much hatred, right? If I just dilute it a bit, I can see the concept, I can see the spectrum, I can see that the Russian guy who is my equivalent, he's cold. How do they say cold? You see, he looks at a naked woman and it doesn't matter to him.
He's modern.
He's not that excited.
He's modern.
Yeah, you see,
But at the same
I
time,
don't
he's
see that, I don't
also.
correlate that.
I
I don't
mean,
see that as
that's.
a good thing. You see?
Yeah, I mean, you can. I think to me, I have to be honest. Like, it's. I am pretty. In my private life, I am, I guess, more emotionally conservative than probably most leftists. But uh, I don't see it as a good thing or a bad thing. Like, if you are happy with living in an open relationship and not living monogamous, and with being okay that you have different sexual partners and your wife also has different sexual partners, or if you live in a monogamous relationship where you don't even it's not even allowed to look at another woman or shake another woman's hand. I don't care about that. Like, that's not why would I. Uh, as long as you are happy, I don't really care about that. I don't have a value judgment about that, right?
Both are happy, but the society that has the first kind is gonna diminish compared to the society that has the second kind. Because
Yeah,
even
but it's
you
not
said, we
your
talked about globalism, right?
moral. It's not. That's not where where moral judgment doesn't come from what my actions are. Got me, like, me killing myself is also like not so good for demographic and for society dying down. But no one would come to someone and say, you're such a horrible person for killing yourself because you have diminished our demographic. Like, that, it doesn't really make sense, right? Like, every negative thing you would do to yourself, like, you would first say, okay, it's a negative thing that that person is not bringing up a child, or like, you would have to need some other proxy thing in between in order to
But if
have a
in a
negative
culture,
judgment.
if in one culture, if in one culture you have a lot of people suiciding, and another culture you don't, it's quite, how to say this, it's quite useful to analyze what makes these people have these tendencies and what makes these people don't. So if you analyze, okay, we have the people who are immigrants in Europe, they are having more children than Europeans themselves who were there before. What makes these subsection of who are not even 20 or 30% or 10% of population, why are these having 3.5 birth rate, and the German woman is having like 1.5 or what? That's, for example, that's a way you can start
I
seeing the
mean, we've
problem.
already
Because
agreed that
if
it comes with a lot of positives and with a lot of negatives. Like, You have a German society which is really modern and has lower crime and has a lot of issues, that doesn't have a lot of issues, and then you have Turkish society or Tunisian society that doesn't have that. But so which one is better? So would you say that you could definitely choose one
Then
that is better?
that depends on your goal. That
On your
depends on
what?
the goal because you have either here goal. You have two
Sure.
goals here.
Yeah.
The first one is do you want the society to just continue to exist, or you prioritize it having to prosper right now to have the best life possible for its members right now, even that if it leads that it's going to be weaker, because let's say eventually it gets so weak that it gets invaded by another country, for example. I'm just saying. So what are you prioritizing? Do you want your society to have the best life for it right now, which is comes by like simple fixes, or you want your society to live on forever, which comes with solutions that, let's face it, they sound impossible. The solutions that we discussed, they're impossible to implement, to
Yeah, but it
they're
depends
impossible to
on, yeah,
execute.
exactly, but it depends on the lens through which you look at it. For example, if you look at an individual, a young person living, it might be way cooler to live in Berlin than to live in Saudi Arabia, right? So it's more fun. You can have more sex. You can do like a lot of things are more nice. But if you look at it from the perspective of a nation being able to defend itself and to survive, and so it's not inherently, there is no inherent moral judgment that can be attached to it. I think it's
But
just
then
inherently
you see,
neutral.
it
So
is.
so I think it's neutral.
You see, this is. I have a disagreement because it is fun until it isn't. You see, it is fun until it isn't. So you
Wait,
say
you
it's
seem to argue in favor of the traditional society being better. That seems to be your argument.
let me then phrase it this way: if I cared about the society living forever and existing forever, then my focus will be on the more traditional family conservative values. That is what I said. That
Sure,
is what I
but
believe in.
then you
But
started with it is fun until it isn't
I,
fun.
yeah, you know how, you know why it is fun? Because it isn't fun. Because, well, this goes back to all the BPL theories. Because now it used to be fun to go clubbing in Berlin. I bet you that is less fun now, and it's less fun tomorrow, and it is less and less and less fun for the average guy, for example. You see, if you are not the guy, then you're having less fun, and that has been true. I'm not gonna elaborate at all here. I'm just saying, if you watch the channels that are dedicated to the subject, they can all show that it used to be way fun to club 20 years ago than to club today. It started to be less and less and less fun for the majority of people and
Again,
more fun for a small minority of
okay, you
people.
seem to make a case
So
that the appeals of modern society are not really that good, and you seem to
they're
defend the
not
traditional
sustainable. Not
society.
sustainable.
Okay, but then you
They're
seem
not
to,
sustainable.
but then you seem to be defending the traditional society. You seem to say that that's
You see,
better. But every time I
okay,
ask you that,
then
then
I
you
will.
say no. Only if I care about survival of the species, or the
Okay,
ethnicity.
then let me clarify this. So
Sure.
let me clarify this because I can see the confusion. Uh, I understand what needs to be done for a society to not that I claim the knowledge. I can think in the way that would make a society thrive. Okay, in theory, but I'm for myself. I am pretty egoistical, and I would want to go where the fun is. So that comes the part when you said in the first, like, I want to come here, but I don't want the others to come. That's where it comes from.
Yeah.
Because I myself advocate. I admit this. I'm not hiding this. I
No,
want to
it's
have fun
okay.
myself,
Yeah.
but I'm saying, if you're asking me about the immigration and you tell me like, hey, we have this question here in Germany and I want to open a debate, or we are not like debating against each other, we're just having a discussion, right?
Yeah.
And you're saying, I want to hear your opinion on this, and I have to say, because I believe it is the case, that if you want things to thrive, continue to prosper, and to have to exist like eternally as a society, you have to do X, Y, and Z. I myself will not help you. You see, if you ask me, hey, can you please bring us 11 children? I can, like, in theory, have 11 women and like, or one woman and have multiple children, but I don't, that's my personal life, my choices. I'm not discussing those. So if you ask me personally on what I would do, you will receive a different answer from asking me what needs to be done for a society to thrive. Did
No,
that
I'm not
clear better?
asking you what you would. No, I'm not asking you what you would do personally. I feel like I've said that I think that these two lifestyles, like these two time frames that we're looking at, the Tunisian society with Tunisian people in it, and modern Russian society with Russian people in it, with lower testosterone, lower birth rates, lower crime, and all of this, like all of this things, these two things. I think at the end of the day, the way I look at it is I'm looking at it that it's both neutral in a sense that it's it really depends. It's just like you said. It really depends on through which lens you're looking for. You're looking at it,
Okay,
and
they
so
are
in that,
neutral or far away from each other. Far away from each other, they're neutral. But
and
if you start bringing the men who grew up in one and into the other, then
yeah,
you disbalance it because they were neutral far away from each other. But now you're bringing the men who
no,
grew up in chaos and you're
you're
bringing them
fixing
to modernity.
you're fixing one problem that evolved in the one country with the population of the other country. So you're patching holes that were ripped into your society with excess on the other in the other society.